There's not a lot of times or opportunity in a big family to have an intimate moment.
Aspen was the last adult child of Cody and Christine that hadn't spoken out about her family, but recently she went on Mykelti and Tony's Patreon to talk about things, and what she revealed about her childhood and how it had impacted her will shock you. Mykelti and Tony did an interview with Aspen on their Patreon, and they got her to open up about a lot of things. Someone summarized what they'd said on Reddit, and a lot of it really surprised me. One of the things the sisters touched on was just how difficult their childhood had been. Aspen is Christine and Cody's oldest kid, and because of that, she had to grow up faster than most of her siblings. Previously, Mykelti opened up on her Patreon about how the whole family was really poor when she was younger. This wasn't just hard on the parents, who had to make sure to bring in at least some money, it also impacted the kids in a crazy way, especially Aspen. Because Christine had to work, Aspen had to learn to be responsible from a very young age. She would have to take care not just of herself, but also of her younger siblings. In the interview, she said that she didn't think this was necessarily a bad, negative thing. It was just something that needed to be done, so she did it. And she clearly did it well, because Mykelti said one thing that really shocked me. She said that Aspen was like a mom to her when she was younger. They didn't always have the best relationship, they would apparently fight pretty often. But Aspen always took care of her and was very mature. She would apparently make her and the other kids food and then tuck them into bed. But this wasn't the only responsibility that Aspen had. In the Reddit summary, it was mentioned that Christine would sometimes come home from work and get annoyed when the house was messy. That honestly seems pretty crazy to me. I mean, Aspen was just a kid, and she had so many responsibilities. To expect her to also have time to clean the house just doesn't sound fair at all. Christine supposedly eventually realized this too, but it's wild that it was even an issue to begin with. Having this much responsibility also somewhat affected Aspen's relationship with her siblings. Apparently, Isabel talked to both Aspen and Mykelti and said that she wished they'd spend more time together when she was younger. But Aspen and Mykelti supposedly said that this was really hard. They spent so much time taking care of the younger siblings that whenever their responsibilities were done, they just wanted some time to themselves. That's pretty understandable, but it's still kind of sad. These kids shouldn't have had to deal with all this. But I guess there was no going around it at the time. Like Aspen said, it just needed to be done. Speaking about their situation and the poverty the family was in, Mykelti said that she thought that this was one of the reasons why the family decided to do the show. Aspen and Mykelti discussed this, and Mykelti said that she thought Christine wanted to escape poverty this way. This kind of succeeded, even though it ended up tearing the family apart in the end. Then again, I'm not sure if it was always going to end up like this, even without the show. It's kind of hard to tell. Another thing that Aspen and Mykelti discussed was how they lived together at one point. This was when they were in college. They were both struggling financially, so they lived together for about a year. I'm not really sure if they saw each other a lot though. Mykelti was apparently working 3 jobs, and Aspen was working all the time too. Aspen also lived with Robin at one point when she was in college, but she supposedly said that she didn't remember much from that time. She was busy with her work and school, so she didn't have much time to hang out with Robin or anything like that. Aspen also said that she didn't want to live with Christine when she was in college. After her first year, she came back home and she really struggled with how she wasn't treated like an adult. She didn't like the loss of her independence, so she decided not to live with her mom anymore. One thing that I thought was pretty interesting was what Aspen revealed about her views on marriage, kids, and family. It's clear that growing up in the setup that she did influenced her a lot, and she apparently told Mykelti that she wasn't sure if she even wanted to have kids. At least not right away. Right now, she and her husband Mitch are really happy together, and they're not in any rush to start expanding their family. At first, they supposedly felt a lot of pressure to start having kids right away, but once they let go of this idea and decided to wait, they realized that they could wait for as long as they wanted to. Aspen said that when she was younger, she was sure that she would have a lot of kids, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Even if she does end up having kids, it won't be that many, and it won't be happening anytime soon. Aspen is 27 right now, and she said that she'd be happy to wait until she is about 35 before having kids. I feel like a lot of this is probably coming from a place of not wanting to have the same family life that she grew up in. And it's not just about the poverty either. It's clear that both Aspen and Mykelti don't want to go through anything like that ever again. But it's more than that. Aspen also made her thoughts on polygamy clear, and what she had to say was pretty interesting. She said that she and Mitch were not religious and were not planning to raise their kids in any kind of religion. She also shared that when she got together with Mitch, she immediately realized that she wouldn't be okay with him having more wives. Aspen apparently told him that and said that this was a deal breaker for her. At first, Mitch wasn't sure how to feel about this. He's obviously from a similar background, and his siblings practice polygamy, so there was a lot of pressure on him to follow in their footsteps. But Aspen said no, and ultimately Mitch agreed with this. As of now, Aspen said that neither of them wants anyone else but the other. They seem pretty happy in their monogamous marriage, and it really seems to me like they're on the same page about all these things. According to Aspen, Mitch doesn't even like the idea of polygamy in general nowadays. The couple also agree on their future plans when it comes to starting a family. Because Aspen knows that at 35 she might not be able to have biological kids, she's had to come to terms with that possibility. But she said that this was something she and Mitch were both okay with, which is pretty great to hear. Overall, the interview interview with Mykelti and Tony seemed pretty interesting. Aspen definitely didn't hold back, and it just confirmed a lot of things we'd already suspected, like how difficult it was for the older kids when they were younger. I can't blame Aspen for wanting her life to be different, and at the end of the day, she seems pretty confident in her choices, which is the most important thing. But what do you guys think? Were you surprised by anything that Aspen revealed? And are you subscribed to Mykelti and Tony's Patreon? They have been revealing a lot of interesting things, so it might be worth checking out. But either way, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.